Hello there, my very good friends. On today's wrestling news, we have a backstage update with lots of details on Mercedes Money's AEW debut.
Will Ospreay explains why he chose AEW over WWE.
The Rock is going to make like Jim Davidson and take a big break from WWE.
And major WWE stars wrap big business for Mercedes Money's debut. I'm Adam Wilborn.
And I'm not sure why I mentioned Jim Davidson.
This is the news.
Who's the other guy from the...
Virgo.
John Virgo.
Virgo.
Much nicer guy. Much fewer cancellations,
yes.
I'm sure. Let's start this one by talking about... What else are we going to talk about apart from the CEO? CEO. It's in the music.
Sounds a bit like Imperium's theme. CEO.
Well, that's because it's the same song.
Yeah.
We'll get over that in just a sec. But yeah, Mercedes arrived on Dynamite last night. We're not going to do a complete play-by-play because Ups and Downs is coming later.
Yes.
And I don't want to step on Simon Miller's toes. But she debuted on the show as expected. And Fightful have a bunch of... just this massive report with loads of details. We'll cover a bit of it here. But yeah, it's been confirmed to Fightful Select and Andrew Zarian as well that Mercedes Money has been on the AEW payroll for over 2 months.
Wow.
So this was seemingly agreed a while ago. Now, some people initially believed that the deal was effectively agreed in December, where Mercedes landed a bunch of trademarks related to her name. It's a multi-year deal. Fightful are working for confirmation on that. I'm pretty sure that if the money amount comes out, people will be very normal about that, as they were with Okada.
Yeah.
New Japan expects to be factored into this, and as of Jan from Bloomin' The Office.
Yes.
As of January, they were under the impression that they'd be able to keep working with her, so that's cool.
Okay.
And they hope to be able to continue to where they left off when Mercedes got injured, of course, but they understand that AEW will be the priority. With regards to Mercedes' injury, she actually required 2 surgeries. She wasn't cleared for a long time, and she had to make it clear when negotiating several deals that she wasn't ready to go at various points. So in December, bit timeline for you here, it was reported that there were no longer plans for Mercedes and AEW. You remember that period?
Oh yeah.
It was like they're far apart on terms, they couldn't agree on terms. Shortly after that, she re-entered talks with WWE, but again, they couldn't agree terms. WWE, eventually sources within that company, started shutting down the idea that she was going to be the former WWE champion appearing on day one, which turned out to be The Rock via Jinder Mahal.
Yes. 2 for 1, basically.
Yeah, what more do you want? 2 similar icons. But they did confirm talks with Mercedes, although they ended by late December. WWE stuff, that is. Now, AEW and Mercedes, they re-entered discussions for the debut, maybe as early as the first week in January. They were talking about debuts and stuff. But Mercedes hadn't been cleared by that point. But then, of course, the big business event was confirmed for Boston with $2 signs. And boom, here we are. So WWE of sources, they said in January that they expected her to head to AEW, and then when she didn't show up at the Royal Rumble, people within AEW were like, oh well, it's a lock then, isn't it? But she wasn't actually cleared by the time of the Rumble, which is another wrinkle to all of this. So yeah, there's some timeline stuff, some bits and pieces. How do you feel about the CEO?
I'm really excited to see what she does in AEW. I think it's arguably best for everyone, this. Mercedes, quite rightly, fought for what she deserved with both companies. Really excited to see what she does in AEW. We'll get to a little bit actually when we get to the Twitter questions. I'm glad that she gets to keep up her Japanese commitments as well, because it felt like she wasn't finished there. It was she just won the title effectively, and then she was like, I have to drop it now, I'm injured, and then those 2 surgeries sound rough.
Called an audible in that match, as well. So
with Willow Nightingale, of course, and I think it's arguably better for WWE right now. I think she'll. She said eventually she may well go back there.
I love that, the week before.
Which was pretty bonkers, the week before, especially because she's signed for 2 months or whatever it is before that. Yeah. But I just think it's the perfect scenario for everyone, and I'm just glad she's back in a wrestling ring, to be honest.
It's just the thing that gives you the most variety, isn't it? It's the thing that spreads the talent out more amongst the wrestling business, which I think is ultimately good.
Would have been nice to have her with Bayley for the world title match at WrestleMania, but after that, I'm sure you could book her in some amazing matches and feuds and winning titles and stuff, but it's a fresh start in AEW.
Yeah, it's new, it's different, it's fresh. She can go and do some stuff in Japan, which I was into and wanted to continue, and obviously she got the serious injury. I think it's the best possible outcome. I totally agree. I really don't see a downfall to this whatsoever for anyone at all. I mean, look, if I'm WWE and I want to have one of the best wrestlers in the world, obviously I'd be a bit bummed out to miss them, to not land them, but I think she's going to be great for AEW. And
I should say on that, I've got my sources. Sean Ross Sapp's got his sources, Alvarez Meltzer, they've got their sources. I've got my little birds out there, passing me back. Apparently, the reason why her WWE deal broke down, insufficient funds.
Hey, there you go.
But if you've got sufficient funds, why not get yourself a ticket, huh? It's always sunny at WhatCulture. I like a taste of the good life. Goes down on day two of WrestleMania. 12 p.m. Underground Arts, Philadelphia. There will be plenty of time to get over for night two. We're all going over in a big bus together. That's not happening, but we're all going to night two of WrestleMania, so don't worry about that clashing with this. WhatCulture.com/tickets. VIP sold out twice actually. We opened extra seats and they were snapped up. General admission still available though, and we've been doing planning for it now. I'm really excited for this.
Me too, baby. Me too. Can't wait to get over there and see the people.
3 weeks we'll be out there?
3 weeks, triple weeks. Can't wait.
But from one latest AEW signing to another, bruv. Will Ospreay, he's explained his decision to choose AEW over WWE. He was talking on the Talk is Jericho podcast. That's Chris Jericho's podcast, if you're unaware. It's one of the best podcasts out there. That's not ours. He talked a lot. You can read more about this in terms of wanting to stay in the UK for family/relationships reasons. He wants to spend time with his girlfriend. She's got family, blah, blah, blah. He also said, for me, the main priority was to stay in the UK, but also wanting to up the wrestling because I'd done everything in New Japan. Completed it, mate. He didn't quite say it like that. The viable option was where was I happy and what was I doing? Every time I came to AEW, Tony Khan has given me nothing but trust and respect the moment I came in here. It was the right decision for me at this time. I'm happy here, looking forward to the challenges. It's the right decision. With regards to discussions with WWE, he said, yeah, of course, but it was night and day, even in differences of what they were offering and what AEW was offering. AEW was way better, said Ospreay. The scheduling, everything about AEW was completely the right option for me. It was always, you can go be a superstar in WWE and famous, but it's not as good of pay and it's not as kind of a schedule. I respect everyone there doing it, but it's not for me, which I suppose is what many people assumed when the speculation came out that he was leaving New Japan and probably going to either WWE or AEW.
Yeah, it just sounds like a much better situation.
Yeah,
so
better fit, isn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And with regards to the pay comment, I think that's pretty interesting because, like, for some reason, people get really upset when it comes out the wrestlers are getting paid loads.
Yeah.
We saw it with Okada last week, and I'm sure there are other examples you could point to. But man, like, for years and years, for decades, wrestlers have been criminally underpaid. Like, the percentage of revenue that goes back to the wrestlers in terms of salary is less even than the UFC, and they're having a whole bloody class action gimmick. Lawsuit, whatever. Like, fighter pay has been a big issue there for years and years. Wrestling's even worse. So for me, when people say they're getting paid a big bag, I think that's good.
And even if it's a wrestler you despise, who you think should never work in your business again, when people say, God, what a waste of money, it's not your money.
Yeah.
What's it matter?
It comes from a billionaire.
Yeah.
Like, I think the billionaire is going to be okay. So I think that stuff like this is good, and I don't really see a counter argument.
No.
But look, Ospreay is already over huge in AEW. The reactions he's getting are mental. All he has to come out is have his matches and go, all right, bruv. All right, geezer, I
want him and a go-go going back and forth on the mic.
Oh my God, a geezer off.
Yeah.
It's sensational. The way to take Will Ospreay's character, because I think, like, if you're not British, right, you watch it and you go, it's the same, bro, that's cool.
Yeah.
When you're British, it's a bit like, I know like 20 people like this.
Yeah.
This is weird. But the way to take it, if you're having a bit of trouble getting into the character as a British person, is to treat him like a British guy on holiday in Mallorca.
Yes,
It's like, where's your bloody chips? I come here on a plate. That's a Dylan Moran gag, but you know.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, near a British pub. I come all this way. I want to eat some beans.
I did like the people who were moaning the other day because he was like, I've done my first bit in AEW, nipping home to see the missus, and people are like, well, that's pretty already done with AEW. He's like, no, you twats, I'm going back for a few days and I'll be back for Dynamite. See you then. Be lucky.
That was insane. It was like, when you're taking time off, how dare you?
Well, people think there's one flight a week between America and the UK. I did like the fact he's gone from like pomp ceremony, biggest star in AEW, so he just posted that video. Sat in traffic, so bloody Heathrow's chocker.
Oh, where do I get a Cornish pasty around here? Come on.
Really happy for Will Ospreay though. Obviously, we picked him up when he was a star no one had ever heard of in WCPW, and to just he's awesome.
He's doing great. He's doing
Congratulations.
great, and I'm really into The Rock.
Yeah, so excited for Dynasty and Danielson as well.
Bruv.
D&D.
The Rock. Let's talk about The Rock.
Oh yes, please. Love doing this.
So he'll be pissing off soon, which isn't a surprise.
Piss off.
Piss off, Ghost. He wasn't in that one, was he? Why would he have been in Thor Ragnarok, Andy?
He's been a good, funny character.
Although, quite interesting that the character who said piss off Ghost is made of rocks. So there you go, shouts to Cord.
Look at that segue, I love that.
It's really seamless. It didn't even need to exist, but hey, it did. So yeah, not a huge surprise that he's going to be leaving relatively soon because, hey, he's an actor and a very busy one. But yeah, he's going to be gone from the 1st of May through the 1st of April minimum. This is from PW Insider. What are you laughing?
No, I'm just giggling because I glanced at this story before we came in here, and because he's off to shoot a movie or something, isn't he?
The Smashing Machine.
Which is the
Mark
the thing that he's been looking forward to doing for years now, obviously. But because of the way that Americans write dates, I was like, oh, cool, he's only been gone for 3 days. That's pretty good.
Yeah, he's taking the weekend off. He's like Will Ospreay. How dare he take a break? But yeah, he'll be so. PW Insider note that would probably rule him out of doing anything physical for WWE because he'll be filming a blooming MMA movie.
Yeah, he'll be getting physical just on the movie set.
Yeah. So it'll be interesting to follow his year then. When's SummerSlam? What's that?
Oh, late August, I'd say.
So,
I'm not sure. Oh, we've only just got it announced for Cleveland, haven't we?
Yeah.
Oh,
so
yeah.
if you're speculating on dates for like a potential Roman Reigns match, maybe SummerSlam's a bit tight. But hey, it's fun to speculate nonetheless.
Bring him back in, beat Cody at SummerSlam, hold the title till Mania next year.
Does The Rock not have a clause in his movie contract where he can't lose a fight or something like that? Is that true?
I heard about that around like Fast and Furious, same with like Vin Diesel. Because I watched that fight between the two of them.
Yeah.
And no one gets the upper hand.
Yeah, it's just like...
They've killed everyone else and they're just like, well, guess it's 50-50.
It's like it was filmed in different rooms. I wonder if maybe that extends to wrestling. I don't know. That'd be funny.
I was going to say, it better not. No, it better, actually. I want them to win night 1, but then obviously Roman loses night 2 and Cody finishes the story.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Rubber chicken.
Rubber chicken on a prime sign.
Yes.
Finally, let's circle back to Mercedes Moné's Big Business debut. Obviously, she's got a lot of friends over there in the other company. And shout out to Trinity Naomi, as WWE fans will know her as, who posted a very funny video of herself.
And Tamina. There's nobody meaner.
And Tamina and Bayley, yes. Putting on sort of disguises along with you've probably seen it all over TikTok or Instagram Reels or whatever, nobody's gonna know. They're gonna know. And Bayley was indeed actually spotted at Big Business. There's a really grainy photo doing the rounds. No one saw Trinity, so she had the better disguise along with Tamina. But yeah, they were there, which I hope they don't get punished for. And I assume if she's tweeting about it, then it's probably been approved. But it's just nice. They're there for their best mate.
Yeah.
Making a debut in AEW, and yeah, this is just a nice story to conclude on today.
Yeah, definitely, and it kind of makes that Kevin Nash thing from a few weeks ago seem a bit silly, doesn't it? Yeah, you can just go and support your mates, and it's totally fine. Like,
gone are the days of the Highlanders in the Impact Zone.
Oh God, that was
dumb.
That was silly, and TNA, to be fair, shouldn't have done that to the poor guy either. But yeah lots of stuff going on.
You know them, don't you?
Yeah, that's offensive. That's very offensive. You saying all Scottish people know each other? We do. Kevin Gallagher is my best friend. It's nice that people support their friends. Is what I'm saying.
Yeah, lovely thing.
Yeah.
Right, let's move on to your Twitter questions at WhatCulture WWE on X. Of course, if you want to send them to us. A couple sentence through, of course, around Mercedes Moné. A great question here from Sean Ackland. Cheers, as always, Sean, for your question. Imagine it. You've got two gits flexing their young bucks. I thought you were talking about us to start with, to be honest. They're the third who's making it rain. Imagine the power they'd have if they had a CEO in their ranks. What do you think about Mercedes Moné joining the elite?
I would probably not faction her, as in put her in a faction for a little bit. Mm-hmm. I would probably let her shine on her own for the first few months. But like, it's not a bad fit. Like, if she's going to go heel, hanging around with those free assholes is probably a really good way to do it. They're all flashy. Yeah. They all like money. Sure.
Yeah, Hamlet suggested this, in fact, I believe yesterday, or he's been suggesting it for quite some time. I agree with you, though. You can't do it right now. minimises or overshadows her somewhat being involved in that storyline, whereas, well, as I'm about to get onto, people are very excited about a multitude of things she can do in AEW without needing either people by her side or, just like last night, just give her time on her own and let her do what she's great at. Speaking of what she could do, though, Derek D-Rock Felix, thank you for your question, says, with Moné debuting as a face, does she enter the TBS title picture, go for the world title, or just have great matches / feuds for a year or so, or was tonight just for the hometown baby, and she's going to eventually turn on Willow?
I think it probably... The direction, I think, is a tag team match. Her and Willow, first of all. Chris Statlander gets really jealous. Like, why am I not in that match? That furthers the Willow-Chris thing as well. Yeah. So that's good. Against Sky Blue and Julia, I think then Mercedes wrestles Julia and wins the TBS. I think after that, Willow is the first challenger for that. And then I think Serena Deeb is going to be a challenger as well.
Yes.
Because she's been cutting all these promos going, if you want to come into this division, you got to go through me. I think that's a good little path to glory.
I really like that. Or the alternative is she just goes after maybe, like you say, not a warm-up match. She doesn't need it. She's one of the best women's wrestlers ever. But a match keeping her busy, a bit like Will Ospreay's doing. Again, another awesome dream match, but just so he doesn't have to be involved in the world title. Yeah, I put the world title on her ASAP. Don't mess about.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel very sorry for Timeless Tony Storm because she's kicking ass, but it's Mercedes Moné. It's a bit like Ospreay showing up. You're like, oh, well, they've got to be champion pretty soon.
Yeah. Or you could go down the alternative direction, tag team with Timothy Thatcher. Because she's got the Dvorak. Dvorak, how do you say that? The composer who made the da, 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 da. That is very funny.
Yes.
Do you think that
I was disappointed that we didn't get a
little bit. But instead, I hope Mikey Ruckus. Did he make the theme? I assume he did.
I
hope that Mikey Ruckus went, I'm getting real Gunther vibes.
Yeah.
Let's go back to the source. That'd be funny. But yeah, it's good. It's a good theme. It's like it's smart of them to put the CEO thing in because immediately people go,
yeah, people were loving it last night, obviously. Final question, though, not about Mercedes Moné, but another big star in AEW. Tully Television says, hello, legends. Easy question today. What has happened to the demo god Chris Jericho?
Jeezy peeps.
It seems he's recently lost his allure and luster as of late. Are we tired of Chris Jericho?
Well, the thing with Chris Jericho for a long-ass time, well over a decade, has been that he comes up with some shtick. The shtick gets over, the gimmick, whatever. It's good, people enjoy it, people are into it, gets a bit of praise. It starts to run out of steam and then he reinvents himself and he goes back. He has not really been able to do that with his current incarnation, has he? And now he's obviously developed the reputation of being a guy who's like, hey, that's a hot, young, up-and-coming person. I'm going to latch myself to them. Yeah. We saw it with Takeshita. We saw it with Eddie Kingston. We saw
Orange Cassidy ages ago.
MJF. Those two worked, to be fair. But now he's doing it with Hook as well. So that's the perception he has. Does he have one last reinvention in him? I am dubious. I have found increasingly Jericho to be a part of the show I don't really enjoy. And while I am very hesitant to write off a complete master of reinvention, outright, he's kind of overdue a reinvention, isn't he?
Don't get me wrong. I really enjoyed Chris Jericho's time for the most part in AEW, and I think he was crucial to their early stages. Like, people who were really casual fans were asking me, that's the promotion that Jericho's in, isn't it? So he was a great way of bringing people in initially, and he was awesome as world champion. And like you say, reinventing himself, Jericho Appreciation Society, etc., after the Inner Circle. I just want him to go away for a while. I'd have him go away between now and I'd say a minimum Wembley.
Yeah.
And then, like, people miss him. That's the thing, is he goes like, right, I'm going away for a bit because I got a Fozzy tour or a cruise or whatever, and he misses like 2 weeks. That's not long enough. Go away. Make me miss you. Yeah. And then you can even come back. Even as this character, I'd be like, oh, it's good to see him back after 5 months off or whatever.
Yeah.
Or, like you say, go away. What are we going to do? Come back. He's the Madonna of pro wrestling. Let's just reinvent ourselves into something completely different, because he's done it, like you say, time and time again throughout his career.
Yeah, he really has. He needs a reinvention, probably about as much as his wife's Twitter activity needs a reinvention at the moment. So,
quite right.
Oh yeah, pretty desperate. But hey, look, thanks for joining us today.
If you're pretty desperate for another video,
bah! See you later.